Today, we dive into one of the most perplexing and thought-provoking mysteries from the Bible. Who is Cain's wife? This enigmatic figure has sparked curiosity for centuries, as her identity raises questions about the early days of humanity. Cain, known as the firstborn of Adam and Eve and infamous for committing the first murder, had a wife whose origins are shrouded in ambiguity. Was she one of his siblings, a daughter of Adam and Eve, or does her existence suggest a broader narrative about the human race? Join us as we explore the theories, biblical implications, and the deeper significance of Cain's wife in the story of humanity's beginnings. Much like a thread carefully woven into a grand tapestry, Cain's wife remains obscured, though her impact echoes through generations beyond Eden. Together, we'll unravel theories and narratives that surround her existence. Was she a sibling sharing the same bloodline, or perhaps a mysterious figure from outside the family, revealing that humanity's roots may be deeper than we thought? In this exploration, we'll journey through the early chapters of human history, much like venturing into a dimly lit forest where every step forward reveals yet another unseen path. As we contemplate these ideas, think of how each of us is like a branch growing from a shared family tree, reaching toward the light of truth. In a newly formed world, pulsating with the vibrancy of divine creation, Adam and Eve found themselves living in harmony. Yet their choices severed their bond with Eden, leaving them with a heavy burden of knowledge. From their union, Cain, their firstborn, emerged as a farmer, a man whose destiny seemed written in the soil itself. Eve, his mother, would often recount the days in paradise, filling Cain's young mind with tales of innocence lost and the wisdom gained through suffering. As Cain grew, he became a man shaped by the land. His relationship with the earth was intimate, much like a sculptor in their clay. He learned to till the soil and nurture the crops that sustained his family. Yet, with the birth of his younger brother Abel, a tension slowly brewed. Abel, a keeper of flocks, possessed a serenity that contrasted with Cain's struggles. He seemed to glide through life, much like the breeze that cools the face without effort, while Cain labored under the relentless sun. Their rivalry, at first dormant, was destined to ignite. When the time came to offer sacrifices to God, Cain brought forth the fruits of his labor, an offering painstakingly curated from the earth. Abel, in contrast, offered a lamb, pure and unblemished. The flames of Abel's sacrifice soared toward the heavens, a clear sign of divine favor. Cain's offering, however, remained untouched, the smoke rising slowly as if rejected by the very air itself. The bitterness that stirred in Cain's heart was much like a seed planted in rocky soil, sprouting thorns that would one day choke all else around it. In the days that followed, Cain's resentment festered. His feelings of rejection and inferiority grew with every glance at Abel's calm and favored existence. Abel's every word, every gesture, seemed to twist the knife deeper into Cain's wounded pride. The land, once a reflection of his hard work and dedication, now mirrored his inner turmoil. His hands, once devoted to nurturing life, began to curl into fists of rage. Cain's anger was like a wildfire, impossible to contain, consuming everything in its path. And like all fires, it sought something to burn. That fateful day, under the pretense of brotherly bonding, Cain led Abel into the fields. The air was thick with tension, much like the sky before a storm. Their conversation, initially filled with benign pleasantries, quickly turned heated. The bitterness in Cain's heart boiled over, and with one fatal blow, he ended his brother's life. The sound of the stones striking Abel's skull echoed in the empty field, a deafening silence following the act of violence. As Abel's blood soaked into the earth, it cried out, a mournful wail that only God could hear. Cain, in the aftermath of his crime, was left standing alone, his heart as cold and desolate as the barren soil beneath his feet. It was here that God spoke to Cain, not with wrath, but with sorrow. "Where is Abel, your brother?" God asked, though he already knew the answer. Cain, defiant and detached, responded with a question of his own. "Am I my brother's keeper?" In that moment, Cain's fate was sealed. God, in his justice, cursed the ground Cain had once nurtured. No longer would it yield its strength to him. His life, once grounded in the soil, was now uprooted. Cain became a wanderer, forever separated from the land and from the family he had betrayed. Though cursed, Cain was not abandoned. God, in his infinite mercy, placed a mark upon Cain, an enigmatic sign that protected him from vengeance. Cain's life, though marred by his actions, was spared. The mark was not just a physical emblem, but a symbol of the complex relationship between divine justice and mercy. Cain, the murderer, would be forever guarded, his life a paradox of punishment and protection. Like a storm cloud that never quite dissipates, Cain's guilt and God's mercy coexisted. His exile to the land of Nod was both a sentence and a shield. There, east of Eden, he would begin again, but this time as a man burdened with the weight of his past. In Nod, Cain found companionship, though the Bible remains silent on the details of his wife's origins. Perhaps she was a daughter of Adam and Eve, or maybe she came from another lineage, one outside the immediate family. Together, they had a son, Enoch, whose birth marked a new chapter in Cain's life. In Enoch, Cain saw a chance at redemption, a way to leave behind a legacy that was not defined by murder, but by creation. With the birth of his son, Cain built a city, Enoch, the first human settlement beyond Eden. The city stood as a testament to human resilience and the capacity to create order from chaos. Each stone laid in its foundation was a symbol of Cain's determination to rewrite his story, to transform his curse into a legacy of growth and community. In building the city, Cain's hands, once stained with blood, now worked to construct something greater than himself. The city of Enoch was not just a physical place, but a symbol of hope, a bulwark against the isolation and despair that had once consumed him. Cain, though a fugitive, had found a way to contribute to the broader human narrative. The question of Cain's wife has long intrigued scholars. Was she, like Cain, a child of Adam and Eve, or does her existence point to a broader story of humanity's origins? The Bible provides no clear answer, leaving space for interpretation. Some suggest that Cain's wife was a sister, one of Adam and Eve's many unnamed children. In the earliest days of humanity, such unions would have been necessary to fulfill the command to multiply and fill the earth. Others speculate that Cain's wife may have come from another group of humans created separately by God. This theory opens up the possibility that Adam and Eve were not the only humans created by God, but rather the first in a larger, more diverse creation. This interpretation suggests that humanity's beginnings may have been more complex than the narrative centered solely on Adam and Eve. Regardless of her origins, Cain's wife represents the expansion of the human family and the emergence of civilization beyond the confines of Eden. She is a symbol of continuity, of life persisting even in the shadow of tragedy. In the earliest days of humanity, social norms were not yet fully formed. Marriage between siblings, while unsettling by modern standards, was a practical necessity for the propagation of the human race. Adam and Eve's children had few options for partners outside their immediate family. As such, the first generations of humans would have married within the family, a practice that was later prohibited by Mosaic law, but was essential for the survival of the species at the time. As humanity grew and diversified, these early practices gave way to more complex social structures. Mosaic laws, which emerged centuries later, explicitly forbade marriage between close relatives, reflecting both an increase in population and a deeper understanding of social and ethical norms. These laws marked a significant transition in the development of human society, as the need for genetic diversity and social order became more pressing. Marriage practices in biblical times were not static. They evolved alongside the development of human society. In the early stories of the Bible, marriages between close relatives were common and often strategically important. Abraham, for example, married his half-sister Sarah, and Isaac married Rebekah, his cousin. These unions were not only acceptable, but were seen as a way to preserve family lineage and strengthen tribal bonds. As society grew more complex, these practices were codified and regulated by Mosaic law. The prohibitions against intermarriage between close relatives served both to protect the genetic health of the population and to reinforce social and religious boundaries. These laws reflected a shift in the understanding of family and community as the Israelites sought to maintain their distinct identity in the face of external influences. The story of Cain is one of human frailty and divine mercy. It reminds us that even in our darkest moments, there is the possibility of redemption. Cain's journey from the fields of Eden to the land of Nod is a reflection of the human condition, a struggle between sin and grace, failure and hope. His legacy, embodied in the city of Enoch, stands as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Though marked by sin, Cain found a way to contribute to the broader human story, to build something that would outlast his own failures. In the end, the story of Cain and his wife is not just about the origins of humanity, but about the complexities of human life. The tension between justice and mercy, the struggle for redemption, and the enduring hope that we can create something meaningful, even from the darkest of circumstances. As we conclude this journey into the mystery of who Cain's wife was, we're reminded of the vastness of God's plan and the many layers of understanding that the Bible offers us. Cain's story, and that of his wife, reflects the complexity of humanity's beginnings and invites us to seek wisdom and insight beyond the surface. May we continue to grow in faith, understanding, and love for one another. If this exploration has inspired you or sparked questions in your heart, I encourage you to share this video with your friends and family. Let's spread the light of these stories and reflect together on how they shape our lives today. I also want to extend my heartfelt wishes that God's grace fills your life with peace, wisdom, and guidance. May He bless your path and bring clarity to the questions that rest on your heart. Stay connected with us, and may your faith journey be enriched every day. God bless you.